close out that terrible song. And Mist, are you back with me now?
I'm always back with you, ready to do everything and anything I can to provide entertainment, and that's probably the best thing I can say right now.
Okay. First, I'd like to apologize for everyone for using my personal logo since I don't have something to throw up over the screen because I don't have region set up yet since I was rushed into this. But we'll go from here where they are in queue currently. As soon as they get a match, we will be going right into the next one, which we will be once again color casting. For those of you who are joining us late, this is game analysis night at Towerdive TV. I am FilibusterFox, and I am joined today by Mystriopolis.
Hello, everybody, and what a treat we have for you today, as our own staff members are playing their ranked five all together, all as a team. Very nicely placed that they have been showing quite in the first match. Will they be able to carry on? Will we actually be starting to catch them out a little bit with their flaws? We'll just have to see in just a moment when we get into their next match.
Fruitation is OP. Anyways.
Fruitation is a B.
Okay, looks like they've gotten a match, so I'm going to go ahead and spectate the champion select here. And we are having our guys on the blue team this time. Once again, Kurumakai as Needly support. Cloud Titan is going to be Cho'Gath, looks like up in the top lane. Azeraki Dragon, which I'm going to skip around to apparently, is going to be Victor in the mid lane with the Flash Barrier. Sakimans is going Ezreal down to be AD carry again, Flash Barrier. And Kano in the jungle as Lee Sin with Flash and Smite.
Whereas for the red team, we can see ST Cal playing Nocturne in the jungle, having Smite and Flash under his belt. Whereas we have Samwise Gamzee, which I'm guessing is a Lord of the Rings rap battle reference or something like that. I don't know. You have to put that to me in the comments to see if you know what reference that's from. He's going to be playing Orianna with a Ignite and a Flash. We've got Board Sheep playing Shen, having an Ignite and Flash, which is an interesting set of summoner spells for a Shen. I would have liked to have seen maybe Teleport instead for a Shen, but I'm guessing this sort of team cult they're running, they need him to have Ignite for some strange reason. Also, we have Necron Dawn playing Lulu, the support, who's going to be supporting Draven in the bot lane. She's going to be holding up a Exhaust and Flash, whereas ST Wojo playing the Draven is going to be holding Ignite and Flash as well.
Down in the bot lane, we're looking at a matchup between Draven Lulu and Ezreal Needly. Ezreal Needly is a very poke-heavy lane and could be a very dangerous pick in this situation with a lot of basically slow and containment from Lulu can give Draven the opportunity to use his auto attack advantage against the blue team's bot lane here. But if Ezreal and Needly can keep mobile, they can keep the poke on, they can easily take the early advantage here. If they keep the other side low, they can prevent them from really taking advantage of the auto attack and kind of crowd control strengths that they have over the blue team's bottom lane and dominate that lane by keeping the red team low health and scared.
Well, let's hope that Kira Mackay plays a better Nidalee this time. We did see him have a couple of mistakes in the last game, so I'd like to see him be throwing maybe a few more spears, to a few more long-range spears if he can, to pick up a few more poke damage on the enemy team. If he gets a few more of those off, he should be able to find himself in a better situation than he was last time. Here we are. We're now going straight into the game for you guys. It's going to end up with these skin intimidations and banner wars coming right up to you. Let's hope our own Towerdive team has the winning advantage again with a full skin team.
Alright, well, looking at the skins here, that is all skins for the TDTV team. And hey, 3 skins of 5 for the visiting team Glacier Explosion G-Boom. They do miss the Draven and Shen skins. But let's go right up to the top lane. We've discussed the bottom lane, and let's have a look at the Cho'Gath versus Shen matchup. Shen, of course, with much more global presence, as we saw in the last game and many others before it. Cho'Gath is in a matchup with Shen. I've played Cho'Gath quite a bit, and I find that Shen's early poke from the fact that he uses energy and doesn't have to worry about mana, whereas Cho has mana problems very early on. is a tough little matchup for the first few levels. But once you get to about level 6 and you start getting your fee stacks up, it just doesn't matter anymore. No one's going to bother Cho in the top lane, especially not Shen. And
Well, as I said, one of the things I like about Cho'Gath against the Shen, he still, as I Cho'Gath does still have that silence, and he does still have that passive that allows him to keep staying in the lane for as long as he can, even against the poke that Shen provides. Shen doesn't really have that much damage on him. I mean, yes, he is very annoying in the damage that he does provide and that taunt, but I think he's going to be utilizing that taunt a bit more for the fact of Nocturne when he ganks in that lane and then pick up the kill with the Ignite a bit later. I see Shen more as a utility champion than more of a damage champion, so we're going to just see how it goes from there based on how Shen and Cho'Gath will lock up against one another.
yes, it's going to be interesting in any case. Cho'Gath should be fine there unless something goes wrong, either from jungler or just missteps throughout, or just very good play from the Shen, but we will see what happens in that top lane. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we've got the matchup of Victor against Orianna. Orianna, very good matchup against Victor, in my opinion, with that range ability she has of moving the ball around and not really having to close to engage. She's got the extra damage on her auto attack early from her passive, which applies some of her ability power to her auto attacks, and she can basically bully early on, hopefully taking advantage of Victor early to give her that earlier farm and health advantage.
Orianna is one of those champions that's very strong at the moment. Was heavily played in the Season 2 championships just because of the amount of utility she provides, as well as the amount of damage she can do as a champion herself. However, against Victor, I think Victor does have his own advantages as well. Liked to see Azaraki finally picking a skin for Victor. Shame that he picked the prototype one. I do prefer the full metal one, but it's Azaraki's choice at the end of the day. But moving on to the champion itself, I do like Victor as a champion against Orianna. He does have a lot of mobility with that evolution technology he has if he upgrades it into the, I believe it's the power transfer upgrade rather than the death ray transfer, the death ray upgrade that most victors get. It provides him with a lot of mobility when he hits that Q, and it makes him get around very quickly and get away from that ball that Orianna has in a lot of those engagements. And I think that's going to help Victor a lot, especially if he needs to get up in and close and personal. He just hits that Q, gets that speed boost, lays down that stun as quick as possible to allow King Kano's Lee Sin to come in and gank and hopefully pick up a kill on the Orianna.
Well, I'm having a look at the items, and both top laners have opted to go with a red potion, 1 ward, and 4 health potions to start. I do believe that favors Shen slightly to get the red potion, but Cho'Gath certainly isn't bad with it. What do you think about those item choices?
It's certainly the most common amongst Season 3 top laners these days. Elixir of Fortitude gives a 120 or 235 health based on the level and a 15 plus attack damage for 3 minutes. It's mostly used to help tower diving situations, and in some ways it's not too bad whatsoever, just because it does provide the extra bit of health to survive a bit longer again if you're going for a tower dive in the early levels.
We see for the supports, Lulu going for a more standard support with the Fairy Charm, the Pink Ward, 2 mana or 2 start, so 2 sight wards, and the 2 potion start, along with having the Biscuit and the Ghost Ward there. Whereas Needly keeps the same build from last game with the boots and 2 wards there. It's going to give a significant vision advantage to the bot lane here. Red team can afford to stay in lane much longer before having to go B from those extra wards. It just depends on where that pink ward is placed to be how significant that advantage is going to turn out to be.
I want to transfer view up to the mid lane right now with this engagement between Azaraki and Samwise Gamzee, the Orianna versus the Victor lane. And it's basically just showing off, again, how Victor does against the Orianna. He's doing very well up against this Orianna. Orianna's clearing the creep waves very too quickly, but doesn't seem to affect the Victor whatsoever. Now, the Victor is using his Q to great effectiveness, using that power transfer shield on return to take a lot of the damage from her ball, and that's what's really going to help him win this lane against Orianna, I think.
Meanwhile, up in top, we see Shen being bullied a little in this early game. That's a good, excellent sign for Cho'Gath, but he unfortunately, when he bullies that much, he ends up being pushed up as a result of so many of his abilities bearing auto area effect. You tend to push your lane very heavily, and that gives an opportunity for Nocturne to come in for a gank if he so decides. He's pretty close, looking like he wants to do it. Now, seeing Cho'Gath stay in the lane, it looks like Nocturne is going to stick around and attempt to do a gank, but we'll see how that goes, and that could get Shen back up into the early match.
So it looks like he is going to go for it anyways. He does see the Nocturne coming. Nice use of Q there to try and displace the Nocturne immediately away from the fight. It knocked him up. He did try and use that fear there to stop him, but a very nice flash will get him away from the fight. Very nice plays by both members there, especially to that Cho'Gath, who basically predicted where the Nocturne was coming from, landed that Q exactly underneath him, and then used Flash to successfully get away.
Cho'Gath's a very skill-affected champion. I mean, he is very easy to play on a basic level, but using his skill shots to the main effect is the main difficulty. All but his ultimate are skill shot abilities. Even his Vorpal Spikes are skill shots to an extent. Sure, if you're just beating up one-on-one, it's just an auto-attack enhancer, but you can use it to poke through the lane by attacking the minions in front of your target and just having your Vorpal Spikes hit them behind it without even gaining aggro from any of the minions. The Rupture and the Silence, both skill shots as well. Granted, the Silence is a cone effect in front of them that's fairly easy to aim, but still, having good control over your skill shots is a key to playing Cho'Gath effectively, and we saw that very strong on the TDTV team in that early matchup with Nocturne.
I will transfer our attention now down to bottom, where we saw a lot of the bullying going down on Draven. Ezreal's really strong at bullying an AD carry, yes. He's very strong just because of that Q shot of it has a very long range. It can get quite far across the map. It's longer than even an AD carry's normal shot is at these early levels, and it just provides a lot of poke and allows him to bully out a lot of these supports or AD carries out of the lane, especially if you have someone like Nidalee with you that pretty much can doubly just bully someone out of the lane, and that was very nicely done there by Shen.
Quite the slugfest down there.
Can you take us through that quick, Fox?
And beat up on each other for a while. Both ignites, minions hitting both of them. Shen's reusable shield was really the key in that fight, keeping him alive long enough for for Cho'Gath to die first, that ignite to wear off, and to walk him away from the minion waves before he died. That reusable life pool from a shield on any top champion, be it Feint on Shen or the shield on Malphite, anything like that, is a huge, huge benefit when doing those kind of brute force exchanges like that. Cho'Gath should have used a little more mobility there, used those skill shots to put some distance, and just used positioning and gotten away from those minion auto attacks. It was a really close fight, but just that lack of mobility is what finished off the Cho'Gath there.
It's very shame for the Cho'Gath then, but maybe he might be able to come and take this back around if he manages to. Moving to the mid, looking at a look at item builds right now, we can see the builds are already starting to come into effect. Draven's already got his Vampiric Scepter as well as his boots right now. It means he's going to start building towards that Bloodthirster later, or maybe he may speed build it right now. Whereas against Ezreal seems to only has his longsword and his health potion still. He doesn't seem to have entirely backed yet. In fact, he's backing now, ready to get his first items of the game. He's got 60 creeps under his belt already compared to Draven's 31. That bullying's really been helping him, I think.
Very good use of making great advantage of that team comp in the bot lane, using all of the poke between Nidalee and Ezreal to force Draven to just play careful to try to avoid the poke, lose last hits, and have to back early as a result. This means that Ezreal is coming back to lane already with a Spirit of the Elder Lizard, which is a very interesting pick on an AD carry. You don't see that very much. I don't play Ezreal much, so I'm not sure if that's really a core item. Have you seen that built often before on Ezreals?
I've not actually entirely seen it, but I can see generally why he did pick it up. It does give him that attack damage and that cooldown reduction, as well as a health regen and mana regen. So it's not already that bad on an Ezreal because it just provides that much utility and damage on him, as well as a little bit of helping him with farming creeps as well because of that Butcher.
Well, that Butcher will only apply to creeps in the jungle, but I think what he's mainly after with that build is the passive there that will add true damage to his spells and abilities. Every time he's poking, he's going to be doing a little bit extra true damage, and that's going to severely add up against the squishy Draven. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the tier slowly being built up by Orianna there. Up to 212 mana over 750. Just building up that mana pool. She's very difficult to keep effective amounts of mana on. An early tier or an early toss is a very important item as Orianna, as you can very easily poke yourself out of mana.
Absolutely, and in some cases the early tier is not a bad item choice whatsoever. We can already see Victor, her opponent, is also deciding to pick up a tier in this regard for mana problems, but he's also managed to pick up his augment power, and this is where he can start actually increasing his movement speed, being a bit more mobile. As long as he lands his Q on something, it doesn't have to be on an enemy champion, as long as he lands it on something, it provides him that 30% movement speed for 3 seconds, and that's going to either get him close into a team fight as quick as possible to land that stun down, or it's going to get him out of a team fight as quick as possible and gets him away from most engagements. So it's a good way of getting into a fight as well as disengaging from the fight.
Having a look at the CS totals between these lanes, top lane is leading by 17 CS for the Cho'Gath. Bottom lane is leading by 40 CS for the Ezreal. Mid is about even. Orianna has a 7 CS advantage. And of course the jungle Lee Sin is way behind with the Nocturne there, and still hasn't picked up a kill or assist. So Nocturne's ahead in the jungle, but otherwise, all of the advantage is going to gold totals for the blue team in these lanes, and red team needs to hurry up and get out of the laning phase in this situation. There's too much poke coming down from the bottom lane against their own bottom lane. Draven can't farm. The Cho'Gath is very easily able to harass Shen just by killing minions with the purple spikes and using his Feral Scream in order to harass. It's a very effective harass. Cho has maxed Rupture first, it looks like, I believe. Yes, he put the points into Rupture first, which is an interesting choice, but he still has a lot of poke capability from the Vorpal Spike and the Feral Scream, and they really have to get out of the laning phase here if the red team is going to start having a chance in this match.
Absolutely. I do like the interesting sort of build that Cho'Gath is going for right now. It seems that he's trying to build an Aegis of the Legion into that Bulwark later on. He started with his Emblem of Valor though, which gives all nearby enemy champions 7 health regen per 5 seconds. So it means if his jungler is going to come in for a gank, he's already providing support for his jungler when he comes in. However, it does... Sadly, we do see he finds himself a little bit caught out there. That Nocturne's ultimate coming straight in there to come and bully him out of the lane, but a nice Q placement there will save his life once again.
Yes, it's an interesting start from Cho. You don't often see Aegis as the first rushed item on Cho, but it's not a bad option in any case. It helps him sustain and farm up in the top, which is his big advantage right now. Ignite's probably going to kill Azeraki and Moon there. Orianna picking up a nice kill there. Giving the kill advantage, still led by 2 for the red team.
Oh dear. It's just very sad that the barrier went down on Victor there before Ignite finally finished ticking off. It does mean that because of that, Azeraki is down yet another death. It does put Orianna on 1-0-1 compared to Azeraki, who is now on 0-1-2. himself.
The advantage in the top and bottom lanes for the blue teams are becoming less important as mid gets ahead for the red team, and the jungler gets further behind for the blue team. Lee Sin desperately needing to get involved in some ganks here. He's a very strong early game champion, and he really falls off late game, but if he doesn't get that early game advantage, he's just going to be there and eventually become a liability in the late game.
It's a very bit of a shame that I did just look bottom just then, and you saw Kiro and Sokimans, Nidalee and Ezreal chasing the Draven and the Lulu there in the early game. Oh, that's not good.
Well, that was an excellent play from the red team there, picking up a free Lee Sin, hitting him for all sides. He desperately tried to escape over the cliff face there, but just ran into more of the red team, who are going to pick up an easy dragon on the back of that fight.
That is incredibly bad positioning there by Kano, who got them MVP in the last game, but is not doing a very good job of getting it this game, I think, especially with plays like that. Very bad positioning on his part. He did flash entirely the wrong way. He should have flashed downward towards his other two teammates, Nidalee and Ezreal, if he was having any hope of surviving, but but in that situation, you do kind of panic, you do kind of just quickly press the button, and you just don't really expect where you're gonna go in some cases.
Yeah, well, no matter how the junglers are doing, the big story of this is the 80 carries in the bot lane. Ezreal with 130 farm to Draven's 65. Doubling Draven's farm consistently throughout this match. They both have 1 kill, but Ezreal is going to have a lot more gold. Taking a look at the gold totals for them. Ezreal with 4,800 gold just about, and Draven with 3,600. A 1,200 gold lead on the 80 carry. That's almost a PF sword right there, worth of difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking at other gold totals though, you can see Victor's got a 1k gold under his belt, 3k gold coming to 4k gold compared to Orianna's 4.8k gold. That means Orianna is a bit more ahead than the Victor, and that's because Orianna does have not only 112 creeps under her belt, but she's 1 kill and 3 assists, and she hasn't died once.
Well, once again, Lee Sin getting caught a little out of position in the river near Dragon, leading to an early advantage for the red team, but red team went after Victor instead of turning around to fight the Ezreal, who just picked off Lulu from behind and just equalized that team fight quite well. Ezreal getting another kill may be worth losing the jungler another time. I would definitely accept that trade. Ezreal so very far ahead. The further ahead he gets, the more dominant the blue team's advantage is going to be. They're only 500 gold behind despite being back 3 kills. But
I am very interested in the build that Ezreal is going for right now. He very much surprised us with that early Spirit of the Elder Lizard, and now he's really kind of surprised me again by picking up a Glacial Shroud. Now in some cases this is actually not a bad item, just because it provides Ezreal a bit more mana, a bit more armor, and some cooldown reduction as well to his abilities, which is going to be really nice for him, because it means he can spam his Q a lot more in team fights, and that's what really Ezreal is pretty much about. He's not really an AD carry that relies on his auto attacks. He's more of an AD carry that relies on his abilities, and being able to use that Q as much as he can in team fights is really going to help him out. I think I've lost Fox.
Sorry. With Ezreal's build, I see that cooldown reduction being a fantastic thing as a combination with that Spirit of the Elder Lizard, that on every hit from his spells or attacks, getting that extra true damage is going to be even more improved by the cooldown. It's a very unusual build, but we'll see how it unfolds in this match. So far, it's working out great for him. Meanwhile,
absolutely. He seems... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, quite all right. Mid tower going down on the blue team. Red getting a nice push together. Draven finally getting a bit more farm. Still, almost exactly half of Ezreal's way behind, trying his best to at least keep up at the current 2-to-1 ratio they have. Slowly equalizing it just a bit. Picking up that tower will help bring up his goal a bit there. But he's going to be very dependent on the Nocturne and Orianna early on in this match to get Draven to the point where he can start carrying the team.
Absolutely. And we can already see Cho'Gath's next tanky item already being bought now after that farming he's been doing in the top lane. He has been a bit behind Shen in these engagements. He is 1-on-1 though, so he's not too far behind the Shen right now. He's pretty much neck and neck with him, also being 1-on-1. He's now picked up his Locket of the Iron Solari. He seems to be going for more of a tanky Cho'Gath build than a AP Cho'Gath, and that's not a bad idea at all. It means he can basically be the guy who's going to come straight in, initiate the team fights, and be the guy absorbing most of the damage. And having that Aegis under his belt, as well as that Locket of the Iron Slurry, is going to help him be able to do that a lot more, as well as provide a lot of utility to his teammates.
Yeah, he's going for a very tanky support style build for Cho'Gath. Now, he really needs to get some cooldown reduction to go with this to get his Feast on a lower cooldown. Feast has high base damage, it scales well as well, but you don't really have to scale it if it's doing true damage. If you can get the cooldown reduction up on Cho, you can make up for the fact to build pure tankiness, but without that cooldown reduction, Cho is going to be putting out abysmal damage and basically have your, your bit of CC and your damage from your Vorpal Strikes and auto attack. But that cooldown reduction really brings the tanky Cho into the fore of any fight.
Oh dear, and Azaraki getting himself picked up again. Kano trying to defend him there, however, not really going to be working too much as he has to escape instead. And really, this has been kind of going very much downhill for Azaraki over this entire game. He pretty much hasn't been doing very well against the Orianna whatsoever. He was doing okay early on, where he'd been trading off okay with her, but as the game progressed, Orianna has just been out farming and outdoing Ezreal in a lot of the fights and engagements they've been up against. He's been outmaneuvered by Orianna. He hasn't been dodging the balls as much as he would have wanted to. You don't think he's been using that augment power as much as he wanted to either. He has been slowed down a lot by those ganks from that Nocturne, which has really kind of set him back. He's now 0-2. He's only got 117 creeps compared to Orianna's 153. Orianna hasn't died once at all. She's got a rower, she's got her boots, she's still building up. In fact, she's got a 750 tier right now. She's fully stacked that tier, ready to go into the Archangels, which is going to immediately upgrade into that Ceres.
Just watching Cho up top continue to keep his 20 or 30 farm advantage over Shen. Very interested to see where he goes next with his item build as Red Team picks up a dragon, increases their gold lead just a bit here. The top tower for the blue team is very close to dying, and that may help equalize that fact that Cho can continue to put pressure on it and get that tower taken down.
Absolutely, absolutely. Red team in a very strong position right now. They're pretty much doing the tactic that we saw in the last game that the Towerdive TV team did last time. Are they going to fall for the same sort of thing? Hero kind of finding himself in that situation, but they kind of knew they were there. They are going to back out of that. That was a very good choice on their part. It does mean that they are going to get out of this pretty much alive and do just their usual poke comp that they've been doing all this time. And that's really going to help them because it means they've got them now low health and it has to make them back out.
Yes, a lot of the poke back from the blue team being very integral in turning that attempt at a gank around into just forcing the red team to all back off and have the disadvantage of position, giving blue the opportunity to push up this mid tower since red is at half health or below for most everyone. Cho continuing to push up the top lane, having taken that tower, and with everyone visible in the mid lane, he's got no challenge to his pushing. As long as he continues keeping the pressure up and red team is very visible, he doesn't have to stop. But now, with Shen down in the fight, he's got a free tower he can bully.
It's a missed ulti there by the Socky man's Ezreal there, just missing the Orianna just a little bit. Orianna is still managing to kite these guys around. The blue team getting a little bit too greedy. They are trying to pick up this Orianna, but Orianna has been surviving every single engagement against the team. Man's still trying to go for the Shen now. They're being a little bit too greedy now, and that's not really what the blue team should be doing. They should be focusing together. They were perfect before in that mid lane when they managed to escape a lot of the stuff that they did. They engaged at the right time, but they've just been chasing and getting a little too greedy for the kills, and that's not really what they should be doing. They should have backed out as soon as they won the engagement when they did.
Blue team is 5 kills behind at this point, but only 2,000 gold. And they are continuing to press the map advantage here. They may not be picking up the kills like red team is, but they're winning the map, and that is much more important than some earlier kills. Towerdive TV's team only down 1 tower, whereas the red team is now lacking 2.
It's going to end up being 3 as Victor takes the 3rd tower. However, he is going to die because of it. Actually, he might actually survive. Yes, he does. Nicely done there by Azaraki Dragon, laying down that gravity field on top of the Orianna. Orianna was trying to use a lot of her abilities to try and kill him off. I think she was just lacking 1 attack sphere to be able to do it. However, he won gravity field and won pretty much, I think it was his power transfer, got him out of there very safely and left Orianna very stunned and shocked.
Having a look once again at the farm between the AD carries, Ezreal 2-0 to Draven's 1-0. He still has 204 farm to Draven's 109, almost exactly double still. And that build, he's going up. He's got.
He is incredibly.
Go ahead.
Azaraki, Sokiman's playing a very, very good Ezreal right now, and he's now going into an Iceborne Gauntlet. Now this is starting to seem like a more Ezreal-orientated build. He did surprise us with that Spirit of the Elder Lizard earlier, but it now seems to seem like more of an Ezreal sort of build coming on right now, as that Iceborne Gauntlet is going to provide him armor, cooldown reduction, ability power, mana, and provides him with that spell blade that he gets from a normal machine block.
Nacho not quite able to escape not quite able to escape his fate due to a well-timed Nocturne Fear there, or is he able to escape his fate as he walks calmly away from Nocturne thanks to a well-placed Rupture? Oh.
He's still trying to get away. That just misses his Rupture there, and he's gonna get picked up by the Nocturne. Nicely chased there by Nocturne, maybe chased a little bit too far, but with a nice ward placement and continuous basically sight of the rest of his team, which currently is at bottom right now, he was able to pick up that kill.
Frozen Mallet key in being able to pick up the kill on that Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath very easy to escape from most gank situations, but that constant slow and the relentless chase allowed the Nocturne to pick up that kill. Well, disastrous little fight there for Azaraki as he's picked off by the Orianna ult, but this is actually going to end fairly even for the blue team. Nocturne trying to take it down, may turn this depending on what happens next. Losing the Lee Sin is going to cinch that as a win in that. Oh, Nocturne goes down, shut down by the Ezreal, giving even more gold lead to Ezreal here. Is going to. He's now 4-0 with 9,300 gold against Draven's 6,000. It's just that huge lead is going to be a game changer in this match.
I think we found our MVP for this match really early on. However, it is still the match going about. It could change with one single move if it comes down to it, but at the moment, it seems Sokiman seems like a good runner-up for the player of the match, as he's just seemed to be doing very well in this match, providing a lot of damage for his team, just like the Tristana was in the last match. He's 4-0. I'm not really basing it entirely on the fact of his score, but I am basing it on the fact of how much utility he's brought to the team, and I think as an individual, he's brought a lot of damage to his team.
Indeed, that he has. Oh, he may end up getting killed here. Can he get away from this bad situation? Apparently he can, but that's fine, because it's Ezreal. While his team doesn't have much peel for him unless Cho'Gath were to stay back and peel, but they need Cho'Gath for the initiate, means he's going to be pretty much on his own in team fights for staying alive, and he's going to have to deal with Nocturne and Shen going into the back lines trying to kill him. Fortunately, Ezreal is one of the most suited AD carries for dealing with a weak peel-friendly team, as he has so much mobility from Arcane Shift and Flash, and now his Frozen Fist allowing him to kite for himself as well. Should be able to stay alive pretty well in these fights to deal plenty of damage. No, excellent steal by
nicely
Kano.
done there by Kano. Very nicely done there by Kano, using a pretty much perfect timed flash into a smite to pick up a beautiful dragon steal there. And it does mean they are going to try and chase them down to pick up a few kills. Silky Man picking a kill on the Draven there. However, he is being... This team fight seems to have gone both ways. It seems to be an exchange 2 for 2. It's going to be a 2 for 3, giving Nocturne a double kill there. Though very nice Baron steal there by Kano.
One thing we saw early
Baron
after
steal,
that...
sorry, but Dragon steal.
One thing we saw early after that Dragon Steal was how weak Lee Sin is in the situation with him so far behind. Only 74 farm, he's 0-6-2, and he doesn't have much of an item build yet. He has no tankiness at all to really survive these engagements. So he's bought another Ruby Crystal to build towards that Ruby Sightstone, but it's not going to really be enough. The red team has gotten enough item builds completed now that they're going to burn through Lee Sin extraordinarily quickly. He cannot be initiate anymore in this situation. He can follow up, but if he ever gets caught in a position where the red team can focus him a little and not have to worry about the others, he's going to die, and he's going to die very quickly.
I think Kano is in a very difficult position, and I really don't like his choice that he used for his Spirit Stone. He's picked up the Spirit of the Elder Lizard. Now, this was a really good item on Ezreal because of the fact of how much utility it brought to him. Lee Sin doesn't really bring that much to a Lee Sin. Lee Sin isn't really there to be dealing damage. Yes, he does deal damage, and yes, he is very strong in dealing damage, but he's not really there to be able to deal the damage. He's there mainly for the utility purposes of his team, being able to provide much utility through his abilities as much as possible, being able to gap close, being able to keep the enemy slowed long enough to be able to help his allies pick up some easy kills. And I don't think Kano entirely realizes this, and this is probably why he's gone for a more damage-orientated route. If he maybe have gone with something more like the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, he probably would have done a little bit better. He would have probably tanked a little bit more. He probably wouldn't have died as much, and he wouldn't probably be as squishy as he is right now.
Ezreal easily dominating a 2v1 in the bot lane here. Just picking up all the kills he likes whenever he's given the opportunity to. The only ones able to stop him would be Nocturne and Shen. Well, obviously with some help, they can't do it alone. But that's going to be so much trouble. The red team still leads by 5 kills, but only 200 gold, and they're losing more and more objectives and map control, and the situation is going to be a very difficult comeback for them to make.
Here we go, yet another team fight. Blue very much strong in their team fight orientation. Azaraki doing a very nice job at cutting around the Nocturne, using that power transfer to get away. Very nicely controlled there by the blue team. However, the red team is now starting to overwhelm them. The blue team seems to have overstayed their welcome yet again, and it does mean they will start falling. Ezreal doing a very good job at the moment to split push instead. Lilu is going to try and stop him, but he's going to be alright in the regard of the fact he's just basically being a guy who's just split pushing while the rest of his team's being a bit of a distraction.
Unfortunately, the sad effect of Ezreal being 7-0-1 and leading the game in farm is the fact that most of these eggs are all in one basket, and that basket is Ezreal. Ezreal needs to be in the fight, or blue team has a very high likelihood of losing said fights. And now, split pushing with him, while effective, did not actually result in any tower kills. He got that inner tower very low, but he could have been a lot better served being with the team. Of course, he was on the far side of the map and not able to resolve that situation, but Ezreal has to be with the blue team if they're going to be team fighting, or else blue team will lose these team fights.
I have to entirely agree with you on that point. If Ezreal's not really there, blue team are going to find it very hard to win some of these team fights that are going on right now. And I think Ezreal, as I said, Ezreal potentially being the main player of the match, he really needs to focus of being with the rest of his team. His team needs to be able to provide the utility needed utility needed to be able to give Ezreal more kills and protect him from dying. As long as he keeps that 0 deaths on the board, he's not going to give away his bounty, which is probably 500 gold right now. So anyone that can kill Stocky Mans right now would be provided with a very generous amount of gold to just because. Very nicely done there by the blue team on that engagement on the red team. Caught 2 of them out very nicely there and just immediately went down on them like a ton of trucks.
Stocky Man's picking up some action towards the end of that fight. After a very good initiate between Shogath and Needly and Lee Sin, they all hit that fight right out the gate. I believe the gravity well from Azaraki had a fantastic stun in there, followed up by the rupture from Shogath. Just left Nocturne and Lulu completely trapped in there. And then here comes Stocky Man to pick up the kill. And again, another kill incoming for Stocky Man, and Arcane Shift picking that up on Draven. While blue team fights the red up in the top lane.
This is now very much 2v2 right now. Is Kira and Cloud right now being 2 very good sort of more utility-based champions at the moment. We've seen that Shogath went more utility-based tank role for his team, whereas Kira was the support for this game, providing as much support as he can to his teammates. Azaraki, yes, Azaraki is a bit of the damage right now, but yet again, blue team overstaying their welcome and finding themselves very much outmatched, and they're probably going to dive right now, and that's not a very good idea. Again, Ezreal down bottom right now. Yes, he got a tower, but it's not worth at least the 4 deaths that are coming from his team right now.
Yes, at least he did end up picking something up off of that fight. But blue team being a little too overextended in a lot of situations here is costing them a lot of these big fights and keeping red team in this game. If they didn't keep giving away these team fight kills, oh, alright, well, it may turn around here now that Stocky Man's here, but if they didn't keep giving away these team fight kills, they would be heavily leading in this match. As it is, they're about equally placed against the red team.
I think, as a Stocky Man, doing a very good job at playing his Ezreal at the moment. He's playing very safe, though, I think, in that in that engagement, which is okay, actually. It does mean he is definitely making sure his bounty is safe and well, so he's making sure not to give anyone that 500 gold bonus. He did manage to catch out that Lulu there. I think he would have, if he tried hard enough, he probably would have killed that Lulu without too much trouble, but it generally comes down to the fact that there was 2 other members there, and getting out when he did was not a bad thing whatsoever.
Nice pickup on Nocturne up in the top lane is going to give him a Baron opportunity for the blue team here. Are they going to exploit it? It looks certainly like they are. Red team may not be able to rectify this in time. Draven is down in bot lane. His ult will try for the steal, but I don't think it's going to work. Maybe a free Baron for the blue team after Nocturne is killed. There's ward coverage from both teams in this situation.
Sorry, you yawned a little bit there.
And a lot
they are
of...
trying to...
Good. A lot of
Red
damage
team
went down
providing
onto
a lot of poke. Red team providing a lot of poke onto the blue team right now. Blue team taking a little bit too much damage from that Baron, but it does mean that the Baron will be going to the red team instead of the blue team. Blue team not really being able to contest this, just because of the fact that they can't really, they're not really there ready to be able to contest this. They are waiting around ready to try and stop them. It doesn't look like anyone's going to be getting the Baron just yet, just because of the amount of damage Baron is dealing to teammates at the moment, and because of the fact that the teammates can't safely get Baron without their jungler.
Red team having a very great opportunity to be aggressive here, but they may overstay their welcome like the blue team has here. Stocky Man's, and he may be able to use his great advantage here, but a very nice place from Orianna in using her incredible heal from her abilities to stay alive just a little longer.
Orianna finally going down.
the first death from the 5-1-15 Orianna. 37 minutes into the game. Sakiman's now the only remaining player who has not yet died in any fight here. And we will be interested to see how long that lasts.
I'm quite interested to see how long that lasts. I'm actually hoping that Sakiman's as good as it gets, and he's not going to die once this game. I'm really hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, that will happen. However, we can only see as the game progresses what will happen. Nice to see that they finally did pick up that Orianna. It does mean there's a 500 gold bounty bonus to Sakiman's for picking up that Orianna kill. Very nicely done there.
Having a look at the gold totals, the highest for individual players on either team would be 15,300 for Ezreal and, sorry, 2,000, wait, that's not right, that's how much gold they have. 12,500 and 12,200 respectively for Orianna and Nocturne. Red team's doing a lot better job of keeping the gold totals equal to prevent the threat from only being from one person. If the red team can take out Ezreal, they certainly have a huge advantage in any following fights. Cho'Gath being the next beefiest when it comes to gold totals. But I have to continue to stress how much all of blue team's eggs are in one basket on that Ezreal, and how effective that will become in the later games, depending on how well he positions himself and how well he stays in these fights.
Very nicely used of the Ezreal ulti there by Sakiman. Pretty much waiting for them to all be in that one section where they could all be hit by that ulti. However, blue team seeming to be in a very difficult situation right now. Sakiman's trying to kite around this Shen and try and pick up this kill, but there's just so much damage going down onto the rest of the team. Already they've lost Cho'Gath and Victor. Victor not doing a very good job in this game right now. He's only 1 in 7. At the current moment, and it's really putting him in a bad situation. Oh no!
The Ignite's gonna do it! Ezreal finally dies at the 40-minute mark in 10 seconds for the first time, giving the shutdown bounty to Samwise Gamgee, the Orianna, who is perhaps the last person you want to get that.
It looks like a bounty for a bounty, as I believe Stockymans was the one who managed to pick up a kill on the Orianna before and stopped her from getting her bounty, so it looks like a trade-off for a trade-off, and it looks like Orianna managed to get her revenge on the Ezreal and get her much-deserved 500 gold.
Unfortunately, that death by Ezreal is kind of the warning bell to the blue team at this point that they are starting to fall further behind this match. At 40 minutes, a 4,000 gold deficit isn't really a huge problem. But red team has managed to equalize the map objectives to an extent. Blue team only having one inner tower, while red team is completely out of inner and outer towers, leaving only one tower advantage for. Oh, sorry, I'm mistaken. Mid tower for inner is still up on the red team, so they are equal on towers at this point, which is going against the previous advantage that the blue team had in the map control and the objective.
It's going to be quite hard to be able to push and stress about what is going on. It looks like the red team seems to want to go for Baron at the moment. Kano's nearby, so you might be able to see it coming, but red team, I can't stress enough how I don't like the blue team's positioning right now. Where you can see red team, they're pretty much all together in sort of around the mid lane. They're all together, they're all prepared to go as one. Whereas for the blue team, you've got 2 top, you've got Nidalee bottom, and you've got Cho'Gath and Ezreal mid. And that's not good at all. It does mean that the red team are in a very good position to do a team fight right now.
Well, unlike the team from last game, Ezreal wisely poked into the bush and spotted all of them before face-checking, and did escape an easy gank on Ezreal and Cho'Gath there had they continued walking right into that bush. That worked out very well for the blue team there of a potentially disastrous situation. And now, at this point, red team is known to be there, and they're kind of wasting their time sitting there. We'll see what becomes of it if blue takes any advantage, though.
They're not only wasting their time, but they're wasting their health as well. They're taking a little bit too much poke from the Nidalee's spears and from Ezreal's Q shots. It does mean that it's going to be a very bad situation. Oh no, this is not going to be good for Stockymans, as Nocturne seems to want to go onto him.
there enough peel to keep Sakimans alive? It looks like there is indeed a very excellent gravity field from the victor. Azaraki doing a great job of keeping Sakimans alive. They're getting both Nocturne and Shen with that, giving them the chance to escape despite having been taunted. And just barely getting out of range of Oriana's ball before that came in to spell doom the low health Ezreal. And that was a good disengage by Saki and a great attempt by the red team to pick off that kill.
Sorry.
Ward
Me
coverage.
yawning again. Oh god.
Ward coverage for both teams is fairly equal. Blue, of course, aggressively warding around Baron. Red doing the same. Red was the only ward in the Baron hit itself, and that could be effective later if either of these teams do attempt to go for the Baron buff. Looks, however, blue team is more interested in pushing up this mid lane, trying to take some more map objectives again, finish off this last inner tower.
Absolutely. Purple team, it looks like the tables have turned right now, though, as purple team seems to be pretty much on the defensive right now, as red team seems to want to take down this mid turret right now. They do want to make sure it's finally down and out. They are pressing their assault on that mid turret very much. Draven using that ulti to try and do as much poke damage as he can, but it's not going to be enough. Soki's going to put that back up. Leandri's on the Heroes there, so it's going to cause him to have to back off. Gainer's going to come straight in. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Oh, fantastic.
I cannot play by play cast, which kind of sucks.
Yes, it's very difficult to avoid that in situations like that. Oh, red team getting so close to taking so many players down on the blue team, only managing to pick up Kano, whereas Lulu died for the red team. However, red team will be with a lot more health overall, and they're going to try and pick up this Baron while blue is trying to heal up, try and get it before they can get back there and react. They've got the outer ward coverage to give them plenty of warning for them coming up, and that may be a good opportunity. Ezreal going through the mid lane, trying to push up against that tower. A dangerous choice since Baron is being taken right now, but the chances of him successfully getting that steal were fairly low anyway, since they did not have vision.
Is a very disadvantage. It's now going to turn into a very big disadvantage for the blue team right now. They pretty much did know that they'd probably go for Baron because of that. I think Kira's probably going to check right now just to make sure it has gone. However, he's just warding up right now. Instead, they are pushing down the mid lane. They do want this mid turret as soon as possible. Soki's just going to get the blue right now, whereas the rest of the team is going to try and take out that mid turret as quick as possible. However, they've seen that the red team have got that Baron buff, and they're going to try and get out of there as quick as possible.
They were attacking that tower a little before Sakimans had gotten near the fight. That could have turned out badly for them, and red team had enough people ready to initiate. But Shen's down at the blue buff, Draven's still coming in from the base, so they weren't quite able to take advantage of the split Ezreal, and now that's no longer an option. Ezreal is with the brunt of the force. Kano not far behind. Shen is out of position now, so a team fight could delay his ult long enough for them to pick up some easy kills here if they get a good initiate from this Cho'Gath Victor.
Let's just hope in the next sort of engagements we can start to see something starting to break through, but I can already see that in some of these team fights the red team have been coming through quite a lot. They just seemed a lot more tankier and a lot more in a better position than the blue team has been in these engagements.
Well, one major factor in these teamfight engages, while Crown Titan is very tanky, it has a lot of CC, he has virtually no damage built up, he's all tank, his ability power is only 18, he doesn't have cooldown reduction built up, and that's going to hurt his effectiveness in teamfights. Sure, he's big and tanky, but he's a big tanky that can be ignored since he's not doing damage. And that,
Absolutely.
That combined with the fact Ezreal is at a full build now, he's got all the items he can possibly have. All he has to do now is buy potions and oracles if he has a spare gold. And if they can get down Ezreal in these fights, that is a win, big win for the red team.
Absolutely. Right now, though, they are in a bit of a difficult situation. They've seemed to overstate their welcome. They're trying to save their Baron buff as much as possible. Blue teams would have capitalized on a very good advantage there. However, they can't really catch any of them out to be able to make that advantage a proper good one. They're going to try to keep pressing on this mid tower yet again. They do want this mid tower to go down right now, which is a good thing because it means it puts them one tower ahead over the other team.
Red team being so far behind and getting to back. Orianna now just coming to the fight. Shogath maybe a little overextended here. But this is a sticky wicket for the red team if they can't take down Cho in the situation. Very close to doing so. That was a bad decision make by the blue team to stay in just a little too long and abandon the Shogath there. Either go for the tower and go all in, or get everyone out of there and not leave someone behind. But that sticky wicket now cleared up for the red team by taking down that Cho, getting rid of that main tanky beef wall out of the way, and a lot of the peel. Ezreal now very vulnerable to any kind of action the red team likes to do, and they're apparently deciding to take Dragon.
I just want to go over the builds quite quickly and see what everyone's kind of doing right now. So let's go over the blue teams first. We've got Nidalee first. We've got she's got her Shard of the True Eye, she's got her Shirelias, and she's got her Lich Banes as well as her Sorptue. So you can see she's going for a sort of AP support-ish kind of build going on, whereas Lulu is going for a more full-on support role. She's got the Twin Shadows, Locket, the Ruby Sightstone, just like the Nidalee has as well. And she's got a Philosophy Stone and Lucidity Boots. This is actually not too bad in some cases, just because of the fact that Nidalee seems to be wanting to go a little bit more damage orientated, whereas Lulu's going pretty much full out support. So I'm going to give it really more towards the support role, just because of the fact that Lulu seems to want to do a better job as a support.
It's Ezreal being chased constantly by the red team. Lee Sin came in to try and do something about it, but Ezreal was almost fine entirely on his own between Arcane Shift and just his Iceborne Gauntlet just delaying the team trying to chase him. They couldn't even catch him 1-on-4. Just a very dangerous situation to be in right now. They are surrounded by the red team. It looks like Saki might die here.
He might do, yes he will do indeed. That Shen and that Nocturne, they're incredibly tanky right now. Nocturne's got his Frozen Mallet and his Brand Winds and a Blade of the Ruined King. It's got a lot of damage as well as being so incredibly tanky, whereas Shen has also got Brand Winds, Runic Bulwark, a Sunfire Cape and a Wit's End. These two individuals are the most incredibly tanky individuals for their team as I've ever seen, and it does mean that the red team has been pushing that advantage because of those two tanky people.
It is a base race right now. Azeraki and Kano attempting to push into the red team base, but Shen got up early enough to deny that, and that's probably going to be the end of the game in favor of the red team. Here it goes, 51 minutes and 2 seconds. Red team takes down the blue Nexus with a kill lead of 30 kills to 18 and a 9k gold advantage with just a 2-tower lead. A very close game for the entire match, but losing the Ezreal and having that 65-second death timer was really the killing blow for the blue team. All of their eggs were in one basket, and when that basket got stepped on by Shen, it was game over for the blue team.
This is the whole. It basically comes down to the fact that, as you said, it's all down to the fact that Ezreal was just the main person of their team. They basically took advantage of that, took down Ezreal, and then just pretty much proceeded to face roll over the rest of the team. It was very sad to see the fact that pretty much Victor and Lee Sin lost their respected roles to the enemy. Nocturne just did so much better job as a jungler compared to Kano. Kano's Lee Sin. Lee Sin just didn't do enough ganks, in my opinion, to be able to utilize himself as a early game gank jungler as he should have been. Whereas Victor just outright lost against that Orianna. He did try his very best to try and 1v1, but those ganks from Nocturne caused him to fall very much behind the Orianna, and it just that you can just see that just kept staying the way it was.
Well, having a look at the results from that match, we'll go ahead and talk about who we think our MVPs are. Personally, for the purple team, I have to give it to Nocturne. He was on top of ganks the whole time, did an excellent job, and became that mostly unstoppable force. Orianna, Shen both did fantastically, but I believe it's really the Nocturne in that jungling phase that was key for the purple team getting ahead enough where they could turn around and win that match. For the blue team, of course, it has to go to Sakimans. There's no other option there. He did fantastically that game, only died twice, but unfortunately that second time was over a minute timer, and that was more than enough for the purple team to be able to push down their base.
I actually can't agree with you more. They were pretty much the two champions I was looking at as well for my MVPs as well. Nocturne providing so much utility in the early game. These ganks just so incredibly strong through and through. He was pretty much everywhere when he needed to be there, and it just made either people back, made people use their summoner spells, or actually pick up kills for his lane, especially against the Victor in the early game. It was so horrible for Azaraki. I really feel for Azaraki in the fact that he just couldn't really do anything against the Orion. He just got too far behind just because of the fact that Nocturne just kept on ganking him and gave Oriana that bit of that advantage. Whereas for the Rue team, I can't agree more. I can't just. There is a word I'm looking for that I just cannot describe right now. That Sokimans basically was the main pivotal point of the entire of the blue team. He was the person that was pretty much lifting his entire team and trying to do his best to carry them across the river, but it just wasn't enough for this. The rest of the team just fell a little bit too far behind, and it just wasn't enough that Sokiman could carry the rest of his team out of the ditch. That was an incredible shame, but for the display he did put, it was just so good.
Well, everyone, this has been not casual night. This has been game analysis night from TDTV or Towerdive TV. You can, of course, follow us at our website at towerdive.tv or watch us live at twitch.tv/towerdivetv. Watch videos on demand at youtube.com/towerdivetv or follow us at Twitter at towerdivetv. Or you can follow the individual casters. I am FilibusterFox, and I have been joined today by Mystriopolis. We do appreciate your feedback on our casting. Not only is this meant to be educational to those watching to learn how to better analyze the games they're in, but it also provides us a chance to improve as color casters and commentate more effectively both in pairs and individually. So please give us your feedback, let us know how you do, and stay tuned. Tomorrow is casual gaming night, and the night after, Thursday, will be I'm just all over the place today. Thursday will be community night. You can join us for some ARAM, some Summoner's Rift. Who knows? Whatever we feel like playing at the time, that's what we're doing. And of course, Friday will be in D&D, and Saturday, once again, every weekly tournament from Towerdive TV. Please, once again,
not only been FilibusterFox, as has also been Mystriopolis. You can also catch us on our Twitter accounts. I'm guessing you have a Twitter account, FilibusterFox.
I do indeed, at FilibusterFox.
And also at Mystriopolis. If you want to follow an individual caster, I'm sure each individual caster has their own Twitter channel, so you can follow them if you wish for it. But we will see you again at some other point.
And have a wonderful night.